For the purposes of the video, we're using a lock block that cannot actually mimic the actual door conditions you have there. There's an offset door that you're dealing with. My block is actually prepped for with a thumb turn option on the inside here, but for the purposes of this, we're only going to be discussing the use of a cylinder, which you'll have. You do not have a thumb turn on your office function for this particular project. So I'm using what we have here to demonstrate the installation portion of this lock. So please take the steps literally as they apply to the lock in the field. Thank you. Hi, this is an installation instruction for an SML function with an offset condition using a swivel spindle and an FSB standard mortise lock. So first thing you want to do is verify that you have all the parts necessary to install this, which consists of an inside and outside rose, 2 rose assemblies with rose caps, a swivel spindle, but in an offset condition it'd be offset further to the offset side of the door, 2 levers, a scalp, a lock body with 2 mortise fixings attached, and then a cylinder. In this particular job happens to be no cylinder provided, but you'd still get a cylinder rose, a wave washer, and a ring. 2 installation screws for your sub roses to attach the inside to the outside. So first thing you want to do, make sure you have all your parts. Next thing you're going to do is install your mortise lock into your lock. Install it into place using these top and bottom screws. Once you're flush and tight in place, you're going to look on the sides to verify that the lock is centered in your door preps on the edge of the door. And a good indication is that on the cylinder side, the cylinder should be sitting dead center, or the cylinder thread should be sitting dead center of the cylinder prep here. So the first thing you're going to want to do, once you get the lock installed, is you're going to want to install the sub roses. There's 2 sub roses. They're metal looking, but one side is threaded, and the other one has plastic lugs. What you're going to do, the threaded side is going to be inserted on the outside of the door, and the plastic lugs on the inside, in such a manner here. Next thing you're going to want to do is take one of your machine screws, and you're going to want to install it from the inside portion of the door until it catches the lugs on the opposite side. Take your screwdriver, begin to screw it in until it catches. Just as it catches, take your second one, do the same thing, catch as well, inside to outside. Screws are going to be coming from the inside, attaching to the outside lug, as such. As you sense them getting pulling from one side to the next, one of the things that can help you to make sure that your alignment is straight would be to stick your spindle into your rose, stick your rose in through the lock from the outside to the inside as a way to ensure that you're straight or aligned within the door. But you can do that by affixing the lever to the spindle. But if everything looks good and it looks all nice and aligned, you can continue to tighten these screws right here from inside to outside, top to bottom, putting them in place. Right where they need to be. Once that's in place, you'll take your rose caps. You'll notice a notch on the bottom here. You'll take this notch, you'll place it at the bottom of the sub rose, and you'll place pressure from the bottom all the way up to the top until you hear a snap, just like that. All right, and then you'll do the same thing on the opposite side. Pull it from the bottom up, and then you'll snap it into place just like that. And when it's done, you have something that looks like this right there. So now next step we're going to go to is we're going to take our swivel spindle. Now on this particular job, we have an offset, which means that one side of the door is a little bit thicker than the other. In that case, we use a special offset swivel spindle. So you'll have one side that is longer than the other. On this particular case, what you're going to do, always with any swivel spindle, whether it's an even door or an uneven door with an offset, you're going to ensure that the two halves are rotated fully apart at least one full turn so that the spring plates are both facing the edge of the door and allow for them to independently move freely. At which point, you'll take the side that has a stop crimp on it, and that can be done with either a crimp or it could be a little small stop here of some sort. That goes on the outside. That's usually the offset thicker side. In this particular job, it's on the secure side where the cylinder is. You're going to insert this swivel spindle through the hub of the lock in the center of the rose assembly. Push it through until you feel the stop hit. When you see it, and if it's right, you'll see the punch plate coming through on this side of the door and this side of the door almost evenly on both sides. When you see that in place and you're there, you know you're good. With that being the case, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to install your outside lever, inside lever first by pushing it onto the rose assembly, taking your Allen wrench here, tightening that set screw while holding the spindle on the opposite side, applying pressure. We're going to tighten this down until you feel it sink in and seat flush with the lever itself. You're going to take the outside lever, again, repeating the same action, holding it, and you're going to do this same with this spindle on this side as well. Once that's in place, you'll feel it pop. You're in a place, you're flush. Everything will be operating at this point in time. All right, with that being said, next thing you're going to move to is your cylinder. Again, we're not providing cylinders on this particular job, but the layout is still the same at this point in time. You'll take your spindle, you take your wave washer, you'll take your sub rose with the one side's a little more flat, one side has a little indent for your cylinder and rose assembly to go into. Once you do that, you are going to take these items, going to take your cylinder. I usually like to do this with a key, and what I'll do is I will then install my cylinder, adjusting it until it's into place on this, on your particular lock. Each lock is going to be different based on the cylinder you're using. Once you have your cylinder in place, you will then attach the cylinder ring in the same manner that you did the lever rose ring, applying pressure from top to bottom. Once that's done, the final step is to check your functions, okay, and make sure that your inside and outside are working properly. Excuse me, and that the two are working together. All right. This particular thing, you'll realize that when it's engaged, it's locked, and when the toggle switched in, it's unlocked from both sides. Last thing you'll do, once you've verified that the function and everything is correct, you put your finish plate on the edge, utilizing the last two machine screws, and that's it. You're all done. That is the basic installation of SML Office Function, utilizing inside and outside levers with an offset condition with a spindle. Thank you.